Folks, we need to talk. If you've been preparing for 3 weeks or more and been following conventional prepping wisdom, you may be in more danger than you think, because bugging out when disaster strikes will kill the vast majority of those who decide to flee. I don't know who started this trend, but I don't like where it's going, so I'm here to set the record straight before it's too late. With so much talk about bug-out bags, bug-out locations, and bug-out vehicles, people actually think that in case of disaster, they have to leave everything behind and head for the woods. That's total BS, because you don't stand a chance. Dozens of thousands will flee through the woods from disaster to forage and to hunt. Traffic jams will paralyze the main exits, with other routes being risky as well, and looters will take advantage of the situation as they've done so many times in the past. Cars and trucks will be destroyed by thugs, like they did many times in Europe's migrant crisis. Security checkpoints would be a pain in the you-know-what to pass, and driving through forest roads to avoid them is going to be a huge challenge, especially if you do it at night. And if you face nature's wrath, such as a sudden flash flood like this one that swept away 5 innocent people, well, you'd wish you'd stayed home. Notice it didn't take more than a few seconds for the water level to rise. These poor folks didn't stand a chance. And what would you do if you bugged out to the woods and ran into this little fellow right here? Climbing a tree could work, since adult brown bears have trouble climbing due to their weight. But will you get to one in time? Will you be able to climb it and then stay there for hours on end? Within the first 3 weeks following a disaster, you shouldn't be anywhere near the woods, highways, or FEMA camps. People are going to run around like chickens with their heads cut off, and when they see things aren't going back to normal, they're going to take advantage of the situation and do whatever they want, with whomever they want. Just like they did it in Venezuela in June of 2016, as stealing and rioting became part of daily life. Pretty soon, law enforcement will be overwhelmed. No-go zones will form, just like they did in the UK, in Brussels' infamous Molenbeek neighborhood, in Sweden, where a crew from 60 Minutes was attacked in broad daylight, punched in the face, had a jar thrown at them, and were even run over. Hunger, thirst, looters, other preppers, law enforcement, hypothermia, insects, and wild animals are just a tiny few of the things that await you out there, and will make it hard, if not impossible, to get to your bug-out location. And even if you do get there, who knows what you'll find? Maybe your place has already been looted or even occupied. We're not trained Navy SEALs to carry 50-pound bug-out bags on our back. Even they have trouble doing it for hours on end. Plus, some of us have kids, grandkids, and pets to take care of, not to mention mobility issues, bad backs and knees, or even surgery. Now, I'm not trying to discourage you from bugging out when you have no choice. I just want to make sure you know your choices. Realize that an evacuation is harder than it looks, and even a dumb idea for some. And to give you the right way to prep, which also happens to be the easiest for the average American family. Bugging out is a race against time. It's fun and exciting to read about it and watch documentaries, but when you're out there, you will be scared to death. Your heart will be pumping and your mind will be racing, causing you to make poor decisions in a hostile environment. And let's not forget that you're not getting any younger. You're slowing down. Your back and knees hurt. Your eyesight is not 20/20 anymore. You're accumulating health problems as you age. You need security, stability, and comfort for you and your family. And you don't want to completely change your lifestyle or move out to the middle of nowhere to feel safe. But the biggest reason bugging out is like walking the plank is because you have a lot more chances of getting injured or dying. Folks don't think about these things because they like the positive side of prepping. But when you're out there, it's guaranteed that you'll either cut yourself, fall and break something, get beat up, looted, raped, or even shot. So please watch this presentation to the very end, because we need to get one thing straight, and fast. While bugging out is important, it should always be your plan B, because there's only a handful of emergencies that can force you to flee. Most disasters and catastrophes require you to bug in for at least 3 weeks and wait for the dust to settle. When I say at least 3 weeks, I'm being very optimistic, because it could take years for things to go back to normal following a total collapse. The financial collapses in Greece and Venezuela and Europe's migrant crisis, which I like to call the biggest bug out in recent history, are living proof of that. Bugging in, on the other hand, is easier. There's no gambling with your life or the lives of your family. You just sit quiet inside your own home sweet home, surrounded by your family, your stockpile, your guns, and your old photo albums to keep your heart warm, your spirits up, and remind you of better days. It works even if you're 80 years old, overweight, weak, crippled with arthritis, missing an arm or a leg, and even if you live in a retirement home. You're going to be so excited you've stumbled onto this presentation and my 3-step customized bug-in plan that I'm about to reveal, that the next time you read or hear about bug-out bags, you're going to chuckle and get a deep feeling of satisfaction knowing that you're safe. Heck, you don't even need a bug-out bag or a bug-out vehicle. Not for now, at least. No fancy bushcraft knives, no expensive multi-tools either. Best of all, you don't need to learn difficult bushcraft skills, chasing insects to find water, reading topographic maps, crossing rivers, climbing trees, signaling for help, catching and skinning animals. That grosses most people out, including me. Those are all completely useless when you bug in. The best part is you're not alone doing this. Bugging in is also Plan A for soldiers, veterans, and survivalists alike, who are already living in small towns or even completely off the grid in the wilderness, and they're 100% right to do so. Think about it. When most will risk their lives heading for the woods, begging for and stealing food, you'll stay inside with all the food and water you could ever need. When they're screaming and shooting at each other outside, you'll be inside, eating and drinking like a king, and couldn't care less about the looting, raping, and violence. As they're looking for missing family members, you'll be holding your kids tight in your arms, telling them it's going to be okay. Hunkering down solves a lot of bugging out problems and answers some pretty tough questions. What will you eat? Where will you go? How will you fend off the attackers or maintain proper hygiene? But before I tell you how to do it, let me tell you a little bit more about myself and why I chose to go against conventional prepping wisdom. My name is Dan F. Sullivan, and I'm the proud owner and editor-in-chief of SurvivalSullivan.com, one of the most respected and well-established preparedness websites on the internet. Over the years, I've written several highly praised survival courses and hundreds of articles on my site, as well as dozens of others, such as Personal Liberty, All Outdoor, Off-the-Grid News, and Backdoor Survival, to name a tiny few. I've been living and breathing survival for a long time. I'm friends with some of the movers and shakers in the survival community. My inbox is flooded with emails from people either asking for advice or patting me on the back for doing a great job teaching. Just look at what some of them wrote me. John says, I have been reading survival and prepping sites for quite a while now, and although some are really, really good, I think yours is the best. I appreciate you giving reasons for what you would or would not do. You tell how things will most likely be in a given situation, no beating around the bush, and you don't give us non-essential information to fluff out your writing. And Denver Johnson writes, I am a disabled veteran, and I really enjoyed all of your information. Your information is on point, and I very much appreciate what you do. Now, when I started out, I too was high on the bugging out syndrome. It felt so exciting and cool that it didn't even occur to me that I could get injured or killed despite having the best gear and the most carefully laid out bug out plan. It was only after I spent more time in nature that I realized just how hard running through the woods really is. Whether by car or on foot, I was in bad shape too. I had a bad back and knees even though I was in my 30s and couldn't help but wonder how an untrained 55-year-old could survive a 4-hour hike or a 2-day bug out. Plus, folks with medical conditions such as arthritis or diabetes will need a solid stash of medication kept somewhere cool. Bug-out bags are no place to store insulin, you know? Bugging in, on the other hand, is much like retreating into your own castle. You stock up as much as you can, and when the time comes, you get everyone inside, close the outer gate, and stand your ground until it's safe to go out again. Now, there are two curious things about castles that apply to survival. One is that they weren't just used by folks in time of war, they were also their homes during peacetime. They ate there, slept there, and only left them when they had to travel or work the field. The other interesting thing is that castles were designed for self-sufficiency, even when people couldn't leave them. They had barns to shelter animals and store supplies, wells to quench everyone's thirst, and of course, lots of places to sleep. The remarkable way in which castles were built and functioned in the Dark Ages will help you survive the dark times ahead. Your home is where you have your stockpile and your renewable food and water sources. You set up defenses against natural threats and to fend off attackers. You strengthen your doors and windows, hide your valuables inside in places only you know about. You stay there for as long as you have to and evacuate when it's compromised using a secret tunnel. Read an evacuation route. Do this right, and your castle will protect you from any kind of disaster or emergency, from small ones such as blackouts, heavy snow, and floods, to 5, 10, or even 20 years long-term SHTF events. Now, buying random supplies like most people do is better than nothing, but that doesn't maximize your chances of survival or minimize your budget. To make sure you don't throw money out the window on things you don't need, you need a plan and to follow a few ground rules. So what I did, I split survival into 3 main parts, or pillars. Pillar number 1 is your stockpile. Food, water, medicine, tools, and gear. You just need to get the most nutritious foods with the longest shelf life that are on sale. You should avoid the trap of buying garbage survival food, such as MREs or pre-packed survival food kits. Instead, get the foods you already like and eat every day to add variety to your meals. The sweet part is you're not restricted to a handful of foods. You can choose from hundreds of different foods and ingredients, many of them being the exact same ones you eat today. A solid stockpile should also include water, medicine, and tools to fix and maintain your home and garden, plus a few must-have items that will be hard to come by post-collapse, such as canning lids. The good news is they're all dirt cheap, for now at least, because the prices will skyrocket post-collapse. So the smart and only thing to do is to get them while they're still dirt cheap. If you're smart, you can do this for pennies on the dollar. You won't break the bank buying them so long as you keep an inventory and an eye out for sales and discounts, and you buy the ones that make sense for you one by one so you don't feel the expenses on your family's budget. All you have to do now is keep your stockpile in a cool, dry, dark place to ensure years or even decades of shelf life, and get more of the same. And I'll show you plenty of ways to preserve food and even live without a fridge to keep your stockpile fresh for 3, 5, or even 10 years. Pillar number 2 is focused around your home, the fortress that will provide food, water, and shelter in any disaster. The good news, you only need to make small changes to drastically improve security and the odds of you surviving home invasions. But you have to start looking at your home from a tactical perspective. Remember the movie Home Alone? Kevin humiliated the 2 thieves because he knew the place inside out. You too have a huge tactical advantage when you're inside your home. You can plan, prepare, and then tweak those plans some more to turn your house into a veritable fortress. Outposts, foxholes, and sniper hides are just a few of the stealth techniques I learned from the military that I want to share with you. Last but not least, the third pillar of a solid bug-in plan is having renewable food, water, and energy to live sufficiently for months, years, or even your whole life. To bug in forever, so to speak. You can start by growing a few veggies and medicinal plants in pots. This can be done even inside a tiny apartment, by the way. But if you have a backyard, you can start raising some chickens, goats, and a few other animals and start a survival garden hidden in plain sight. You don't need a farm to do all of this. A backyard garden will suffice. You also need a couple of energy sources to be off the grid when your power supplier will be out of business. No, you don't need to make solar panels from scratch. Reinventing the wheel is hard work, and you need something reliable for the long term. For basic needs, a couple of panels plus a few more supplies and a battery will be enough to charge your flashlights, a few light bulbs, and a fridge. See, when you start focusing on the 3 pillars, you not only feel protected, but you also eat healthier and save money on grocery and utility bills. All of these sound simple, and they are, but bugging in has its own set of challenges. To overcome them, I put together an A to Z home study course with easy-to-follow instructions that even a kid can do, something to prepare you for the 30-plus disasters and emergencies that I've identified. It took me a few hundred hours of work to go through all my survival knowledge and experience with a fine-tooth comb, get the good stuff, simplify it, and then format it into a one-of-a-kind survival course. My latest and greatest, my masterpiece, How to Bug In Forever by Dan F. Sullivan. This is the only survival course filled to the brim with actionable advice that you won't find anywhere else. Believe me, I've checked. My years of experience, learning from dozens of world-class preppers, reading military manuals, plus anything I could get my hands on, and being part of the prepping community, all of these things have given me a body of survival knowledge that is unmatched. To prove it to you, here's just a glimpse of what you can discover inside. How to build a 1-year stockpile, and fast. I'm talking healthy survival food, not the garbage military MRE or emergency food kits. MREs aren't just health hazards. If you eat them every day, they're also expensive. Stay away from survival junk food and only get the ones I recommend. Just look at what you can buy for $100. Cans of fruits, beef stew, peanut butter, and potato flakes, to name a few. All high-quality, nutritious foods with years of shelf life. I'm going to reveal my full list of 50-plus delicious survival superfoods that are jam-packed with vitamins, minerals, and other nutrients you desperately need, not just in survival situations, but every single day. You don't need to buy all of them. Quite the opposite. If you've ever been on a diet, you know that eating the same thing every day will make you sick to your stomach, no matter what it is. You need variety in your survival diet, because you not only need to stay physically healthy, but also protect your mental health. And if that's not enough, I'm going to show you how to cook with minimal smell and smoke, whether by traditional methods used by our forefathers or using a simple pressure cooker. Hungry neighbors won't have a clue about what you're up to. I'm going to help you sketch your tactical bug-in plans based on your unique situation, age, sex, climate, location, square footage, family members, medical conditions, pets, and so on. 5 ways to live without a fridge, including the ones used by early pioneers. People in other parts of the world came up with ingenious ways to keep their foods fresh, and I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions for each. How to find fresh food and water without risking your life. No matter how big a stockpile you have, it'll run out at some point. I'll show you how to get out there and find more. A full list of items you simply cannot replicate by self-sufficient means. Toilet paper, chicken wire, and canning lids are just a few examples. You're going to want to stock up on the entire list fast. Hygiene. This is going to be a huge issue. Lack of running water, tons of garbage, and human waste will cause disease to spread like wildfire. I'm going to give you a few crucial ways to keep yourself and your family daisy fresh and germ-free with little or no water. How to set up a few solar panels in your backyard to cover your basic energy needs. No make your own panels BS. I'm going to tell you which ones to get at an amazing price. I'll even show you how to shield away some of your electronics so they don't get fried in case of an EMP. And just in case you need more power, I'm going to let you in on a couple of primitive ways to make it. If you have a river on your property or an exercise bike, you're well on your way to have 2 backup energy sources that are 100% free. Next, I'll uncover a few dozen mistakes you're bound to make if you play survival by the ear. Number 3 will kill those who are bugging out with their hiking boots on. How to turn your home into a veritable fortress so it protects you from natural disasters, home invasions, and anything in between. Plus, how to stay protected 24/7 on a personal level whenever you leave your house to go to the flea market or at night. The best places to keep your valuables. They're so ingenious, even you will forget where you hid them. Believe it or not, you can get 20+ years of shelf life from some foods. Most folks don't know this, but it isn't just high temperatures that shorten lifespan, but also temperature variations. I'll show you how to fight all the food storage enemies: oxygen, pests, temperature, humidity, and light. Follow my advice to the letter, and your stockpile will literally outlive you. The bulk of the course is where I give you specific, actionable bug-in advice for each and every disaster that could affect you. From martial law and social unrest, we've seen plenty of that lately, to hurricanes and many, many more. I'm also going to cover smaller, personal emergencies that most preppers never even consider. I will also tackle the legal aspects of prepping. Gardening, raising animals, and even collecting rainwater may be illegal where you live, or there may be restrictions. You need to know this before you get started. Otherwise, you'll wake up with a fine, or even in jail. This one is of utmost importance. How to make your home look like it's already been ransacked, and that it's not worth plundering. No one, and I mean no one, should know you have supplies, or that you're even there, for that matter. How much skill do you really need to bug in? Forget bushcraft. I'm going to teach you the easier, yet critical, bug-in skills that will ensure your survival. 3 negotiation strategies from my favorite president, Ronald Reagan. Once the dust settles, you'll need to barter for tools and supplies. This is the most important skill you can learn, bar none. Can you bug in if you live in an apartment? The answer is yes, as long as you have a place to bug out to. Everyone thinks staying in the city is a bad idea, but I beg to disagree. These golden nuggets will help you hunker down and survive in an apartment building. I'm going to give you some of the most important survival drills you need to start doing today. These protocols are easier than bugging out drills because they're practiced at home. How to inspect your preps to make sure all your gear works and that none of your food has spoiled. This takes about an hour, and you'll only need to do it once or twice a year. Last but not least, I'll do the one thing that I've never seen any prepper guru do. I'll give you over a dozen gun-to-the-head psychological tricks you can use to get yourself out of really tough situations. Living in a lawless society is going to be tough, so you need to know what to do when you're at the other end of the gun. So there you have it. There's a lot more I cover in the How to Bug In Forever e-course than I could possibly share in this presentation. This is by far the most complete survival crash course you will find. Sorry for bragging. But I didn't stop there. I wanted to make you an offer you can't refuse. So I decided to throw in these bonuses that I think you'll enjoy. Bonus number 1 is called Vital Survival Checklist. It's a list of lists that will allow you to figure out what's missing from your inventory, and fast. From your typical bug-out bag checklist to home protection and stockpile checklists. Print them all out and tick the items one by one as you handle them. No fluff, just lists of things to have or do. Bonus number 2 will make sure you live long enough to bug in. It's likely that you won't be at home when disaster strikes, and this could be a problem. How are you going to get home? What if your spouse and kids aren't there? Can you get to them real quick? My Getting Home When SHTF booklet tackles get-home scenarios so you can quickly and safely bug in with all your family members, no matter where you are when it happens. Bonus number 3 is called Reclaim Your Life After a Disaster. From hurricane survivors to trained Army soldiers in close combat, everyone is deeply traumatized by critical events they experience. Just imagine what a disaster or personal emergency can do to your family. You need to know how to tackle fear, panic attacks, and desperation to keep your family together. Bonus number 4 is called Barter for Your Life, and it teaches you not just how to barter in a post-collapse world, but how to negotiate today to get better deals in places such as flea markets. If you don't know when to bluff, when to leave, and how to keep quiet when things are getting tense, you might come back to your spouse and kids with no supplies, or you might not come back at all. Last but not least, my 5th bonus is a collection of links to the best tools and gear you can find on Amazon, the best place on earth to shop for survival gear. Dan's top recommendations covers everything from the best knives and tools you can find on the market to grain grinders, flashlights, and anything else you may need. All in one place, short and to the point, useful for both bug in and bug out scenarios. Now, How to Bug In Forever is not your average survival course. It's different because it crosses the border between text and mentorship. As you read my amazing advice, you literally feel me by your side. It'll be like talking to an old friend over a beer, just like you feel right now, watching this. You don't just get the PDFs, but also myself at your service. Because when you become my client, I also become your mentor, and you become my mentee. You're added to my VIP list and get blazing fast, detailed replies from me to any questions you may have, no matter how simple. To quote one of my customers, Beverly, "Thank you so very much. I will print out and study everything you brought up. You are the first one I've asked who responded to help us out. Have a blessed day." The price of all this? I'd say it's worth at least $100 for the amount and quality of information you receive. After all, I spent hundreds of hours making it, not to mention production and website costs. And at the end of the day, I'm hoping to save a little for my own stockpile. So how does $39 sound? You won't find a better price anywhere else simply because this e-course is not available anywhere else. Not on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, not even in bookstores. I decided to show big publishing houses the finger because they are just as greedy as corporations and publish it online on my own, solo. $39 also happens to be less than you save on your preps from day one if you follow my lead. And now it's decision time. Are you going to swallow the blue pill of ignorance and rely on your bug out bag to keep you safe from any disaster? Or are you going to take the red pill and bug in? The people of Venezuela were left without food in the spring of 2016 when the economy collapsed. Some were lucky enough to get some after they waited in line for hours. Others resorted to drastic measures and started eating dogs, cats, and pigeons. The folks in Brussels, the capital city of Belgium, were ordered to stay inside for days by law enforcement who put the city under lockdown and brought in tanks to patrol the streets in search of terrorists. The transportation system was shut down, many stores were closed, and hardly anyone was on the streets except for armed men with bulletproof vests. The entire place looked like a ghost town, with over 1 million scared people hiding inside their homes. And don't get me started about Greece. When the country imploded, teenage girls selling themselves for the price of a sandwich, looting and fighting with armed forces became daily life. It seems that every modern economic collapse that takes down an entire country means prostitution, starvation, and death, among other things. And I can't help but wonder what would happen when the $20 trillion debt of the U.S. will lead to the mother of all economic tsunamis, one that will wipe out many developed nations as well. If you start stockpiling today, you won't care what's happening outside because you'll be on the inside, safe and sound, ready to sit there for as long as you have to. And everything you need to do is inside my How to Bug In Forever course. So how about it? Would you like me to be your survival expert? If you don't know which foods to buy, or if you need specific advice for your situation, I'm here to help. Ask me anything, and I'll be sure to answer you within 2 working days, tops. Will you click the button below to get started, or would you rather do this on your own? Read thousands of pages of blog posts and forum discussions with shallow and conflicting information. I'm okay either way. I just think it's better to get prepped fast and do it with qualified help by your side. There's only one way of achieving that, and that's to get the How to Bug In Forever course and learn directly from someone who's already done the hard work for you. Someone who can cut the learning curve and only give you the good stuff. The clock is ticking, and one thing's for sure. Whatever hits you, you cannot postpone it. There's only one way to buy yourself more time, and that's to start prepping right now. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll be 100% protected. All you need is 1 hour a day to put my plan into action and feel safer with each passing day. So give my method a test drive, measure your progress, and if you're not happy with it, you can always get your money back within 60 days. You've got 2 whole months to put my advice into practice. If at any time you feel like this isn't for you, send me a quick email and I'll refund you every penny. Though I don't get many refunds, I'm prompt in handling them because the last thing I want is an unhappy customer. So are you willing to wait until it's too late to start storing food, water, and the other essentials? Are you going to be stubborn and continue to play survivalist and continue to prepare to bug out? Most Americans haven't got a clue about what it's like to survive a disaster, especially one that could last months or even years. So unless you're looking to join the army to experience close combat or go to a third world country as a social worker, the best and most patriotic thing you can do is start preparing. Only the strong, intelligent, and prepared will survive the coming collapse. So click the button below, enter your information, and I'll see you on the other side with an important announcement. Still not sure if this is right for you? Let me explain to you in detail what How to Bug In Forever is all about by answering a few common questions. Question: how quickly can I get my blueprints? Since this is a digital product, you get instant access, meaning as soon as the payment is confirmed, you're literally 2 to 3 minutes away from starting to read. Question: can I get the product in physical format? Not at the moment, no. By making this available in digital format, I can keep the costs low while you get fast, instant access. Question: is my credit card safe? Yes. The transaction is processed by the online retailer, ClickBank, and that's what will show up on your bank statement. ClickBank processes hundreds of thousands of ebook transactions every single month, and they've been doing this for a very long time and handle money with care. Question: I live in a tiny apartment. Can I still bug in? Definitely. Even though you can't have a huge stockpile in an apartment, you'll still be able to stash more than you think. A combination of bug in and bug out plans is best for you. You'll be surprised at all the tiny places you can hide your preps. Question: is the 60-day guarantee real? It sure is. Folks are sometimes afraid to ask for their money back on info products because of some bad apples in the survival space who like to cling to their money. I'm not like that because I know every negative feedback I get is a chance for me to improve. Though I seriously doubt you'll have any complaints. If you don't feel this is right for you, don't be embarrassed to ask for a refund. Question: can I access the product from my phone or tablet? Sure. After your purchase, you'll be taken to the members area, but you'll also get a direct link via email. This way, you'll be able to access the product anytime you want it by simply logging into your email from your phone, iPad, or your laptop and clicking the link to get to the same members area. Question: Dan, can I make a printed copy of this course? How about several? By all means, feel free to make as many as you want. Question: I've read quite a few survival books and ebooks. Can you give me some more info on your course? Sure thing. I could fill pages upon pages of stuff you're going to find inside the How to Bug In Forever course. Here are just a few more. A full list of things that can go wrong during a disaster. Read it, then prepare for each, because most people foolishly ignore them. How to set up a simple Faraday cage that would protect your electronics. There's a lot of confusing information on the topic, but my setup is going to give your equipment the highest chances of survival. A sneaky trick to fill your basement to the brim without anyone suspecting why you're really doing it. You're going to chuckle when you find out. A full list of foods and their shelf life, in descending order. This will make it dead easy for you to set your priorities. How to use the distillation method to create clean, potable drinking water that's free of viruses, bacteria, and heavy metals. Oh, and it's 100% free. This is the mother of all purification methods. I'll even show you how to make your own solar still at home with basic materials to purify at least 1 gallon of water a day. How to bug if you're a lady. Because it's much more than just hoarding tampons. The deadly secret of having cigarettes as comfort items. And no, it's not the fact that, if left unattended, they can burn down the house. The surprising alternative to raising chickens that's low maintenance and much better at pest control. How to know when it's safe to go outside, plus all the places to find food and water post-collapse, and much, much more. Question: what disaster is most likely to hit? That's a great question. Well, with the U.S. debt reaching all-time highs, with Venezuelans starving after the country went bankrupt, I think a financial disaster is most likely to hit. Just like some analysts were called crazy for predicting the 2007 crisis, there are people right now crying their lungs out about the food crisis, and you need to look no further than Greece and Venezuela to see that the U.S. and other developed nations could follow. Question: what makes the How to Bug In Forever e-course different? There's one big thing that makes it different. The fact that I worked my you-know-what off to get you the highest quality information possible. I honestly don't think there's a better course on bugging in out there. This isn't just a list of items to buy for the impending disaster. It's a war plan for the next crisis or disaster, no matter what shape it will take. Question: is the product full of fluff? Absolutely not. I've had my share of survival courses filled with irrelevant stories, personal opinions, and political rants. There will be none of that in How to Bug In Forever. Question: what if I have questions later on? I'll be right by your side. Write me an email at any time at contact@survivalsullivan.com, and I'll hit you back with an email in 48 hours tops. So there you have it, folks, the single most complete survival course on how to bug in. And now it's your turn. Click the button below to start your stockpiling journey. I'm Dan F. Sullivan. Thanks for watching.